Hi, I'm Kristin with the Queen Anne's County Library, and I'm bringing you today's baking from home lesson, which is going to be my Nana's peanut butter bars. I thought it would be a great tribute to honor my grandmothers for Women's History Month. That's March, and because they were always the ones who helped me learn how to bake when I was growing up, and I still have such fond memories of working with them together in the kitchen. Even now, my grandmother, who's still alive, still talks about perhaps one of the best baking moments we had, which was a whole summer making friendship bread until my mom put a nix to that because our freezers were full. But this one is actually my other Nana's recipe, which I always liked, and she kind of showed her love for me because the original recipe I know called for crunchy peanut butter, but she always made a special batch with creamy peanut butter for me. So I just thought that would be a nice thing to do today. But you're gonna have to go on the adventure with me because I've never actually made them myself before. I have watched my grandmother, I helped her, but I've never done it myself. So let's see if this is gonna work. You just need 6 simple ingredients. You need 3/4 of a cup of melted butter, 2 cups of peanut butter. You want a 12-ounce bag of chocolate chips, which I have the large ones, so it's gonna be about 2 cups worth. We want 2.5 cups of the powdered sugar and 1.5 cups of crumbled up graham crackers and half a teaspoon of vanilla. That would be a little bit much. So we're gonna get started. I don't have a rolling pin, or at least I could not find one, so I'm going to use the method of plastic bag, hammer, and break up some graham crackers. So let me first start with that. And as you can see, I already have my first half of a cup done, so I'm going to just dump that into my large bowl. The rest of this I will put in the And the amount that I just did there made about a cup, and I only did one section of these, so we'll see what another 4 or so do. These are actually already crumbling, so hopefully my job will be easy. Put them in there and start pounding. And as you can see, I have some crumbs now. So let me pour them in and see if that was enough or if we need to make a little bit more. Almost, but not quite. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. I'm gonna pour that in there. And just set that aside. Set this aside too. We're on the board. Okay, I'm gonna add 2.5 cups of the powdered sugar. One. 2. And then my half a cup. Let's see how much of this I have. Do the half teaspoon of the vanilla. Here's my lid. And then I'm just gonna put in the 3/4 of a cup of the melted butter. And the first step is just to mix all this together. once that is mixed to satisfaction, we will add the peanut butter. And as I said, I'm going to use creamy, but you can also use the crunchy kind. Just depends on what you prefer texture-wise. Let me grab a spoon. Don't forget the spoons. Put it all in there, and then I am going to go wash my hands before I start mixing this because I am covered in peanut butter. But if it's messy, you know it's gonna be good, right? Okay, clean hands, yay. So now we're just gonna mix all this together. So we should have a mixture that looks something like that. Just everything all mixed in together. And the next thing we're gonna do is put this into our pan. Move this up here a little bit. Too many things, not enough space. So I'm just going to grease my my pan here, and I usually just use my leftover butter wrappers. So there's usually a little bit of butter left on that. If you find like you don't have that, then you can obviously just use a stick of butter or your preferred method for greasing it. So after that is done, we're just gonna scoop it in and pat it down. Now, one version of my grandmother's recipe said to use a 12 by 17 cookie sheet, but that'll give you some thinner cookies. So we're doing a little thicker version here. So once everything is smooth to your liking, we can move on to our final step, which will be to melt your chocolate chips, put it on top, and make it delicious. I'm just gonna put that aside for the moment, and I'm going to once again wash my hands, and then we'll get back to the next step. So our last step is going to be melting the chocolate chips and putting it on our peanut butter mixture. So if you have just a 12-ounce bag at home, that's great, just pour it in a bowl, but I'm gonna measure out 2 cups worth because I have the oversized bag. And when you melt your chocolate chips, you can put them in your microwave and just do them at 30-second intervals and stirring every 30 seconds until everything is melted. You just want to make sure you don't overcook it and burn it. So I'm just going to get started on that, and we'll get back to you when this is ready to get poured on. It took me about 1.5 minutes to to melt the chocolate. As you can see, it looks pretty runny now. So I'm just going to pour it onto the mixture in the pan and spread it out. The chocolate has been spread on top evenly throughout, covering everything. So the next step is you want to just put it in your refrigerator and let it get chilled. You can take it out and let it sit for about 10 or so minutes so that it'll warm up a little bit, enough to cut it into whatever size bars that you prefer. Hopefully that you will enjoy this as much as I always did. They should last in the refrigerator about a week. And you could always freeze them as well for a few months. So thank you for joining me, and hopefully you enjoyed this and want to try making this. We'll have another baking adventure soon. Thank you. Bye.